Former president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Dezani Madueke, has been charged with bribery offences relating to her time as Nigeria's oil minister. The United Kingdom National Crime Agency, NCA, said on Tuesday, Madueke has been on bail since first being arrested in London in October 2015. She will appear in court in the British capital on October 2. Soon after her arrest, her family's lawyer said she would strongly contest corruption allegations that have dogged her during and after her time in former President Goodluck Jonathan's government. Madueke, in office from 2010 to 2015, was the first woman to be oil minister in Nigeria and the first female president of the global oil cartel, OPEC. We're now joined by legal practitioner and rights activist, Laborato Shoma. He will help us make better sense of these reports. Thank you very much for giving us your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
This fresh charge against Madueke is over allegations that she accepted financial rewards for awarding multi-million-pound contracts. This is coming 8 years after she was arrested in the UK for fraudulent activities running into billions of naira. Up till now, the case has not gone anywhere, and now we have this. Help us make sense of it. Is this case making progress, really, or is the UK authority now on efficient expenditure?
You see, I think let's not judge this matter with, the way our criminal prosecution is conducted here. From what I learned, when she was first arrested and granted bail, I think the facts presented were not enough for them to even prosecute. So on that ground, she was granted bail and allowed to go. But even though she was granted bail, investigation still continues. And then from what the chief prosecuting counsel of the Crown Prosecuting Service did say, that a review of the file and after gathering more facts actually established that, there were bribery allegations, or that she actually benefited, from contract awarded, which is, the bribe that we are talking about. So unlike here, what we have here is once there is an allegation, there's a media trial, there's so much noise in the media, even before the prosecuting agency will gather their facts, they're already in the media, they're already in the news. And at the end of the day, they get to court, the facts is neither here nor there. There is no nexus properly established because there are here, for criminal matters, you must establish beyond reasonable doubt. But over there, even the Crown Prosecution Council, the Chief Crown Prosecutor Council did say that this matter will not be discussed in the public because all they are basically doing, she's still innocent, and they are going to until she's found guilty. So, like what is obtainable here? So, I think before they took this step at all, they've already, reviewed the file, gather more evidence, and then they have a concrete evidence to actually approach the court.
All right,
because approaching the court over there when the evidence is not watertight also is a waste of the Crown's money.
Unlike here, let me ask you,
punished for wasting the Crown's money.
In the interest of time, the former minister has been on bail for 8 years. Is there a limit to how long a bail will last and be revoked, or will automatically lead to the case being disposed of for want of diligent prosecution?
First and foremost, she was arrested on grounds of suspicion. And then when they reviewed the matter, the case, like I said earlier on, it was on that ground that it was granted bail. And there is no end to criminal prosecution. There's no statute of limitation for criminal prosecution. Offenses that are committed 100 years ago, once the facts have been established that indeed that accused person or the defendant did commit those offenses, he can be brought on trial. We've seen situations where people who offenses that were committed in 1979 in America, those persons are charged now because people came out to truly say that these offenses were committed. In the same vein, this is what is happening in the UK. The fact that she was granted bail and that she has been on bail for 8 years does not mean that she's off the hook, or because the matter had not been prosecuted for 8 years means that she's off the hook. It actually means that go home while there are allegations levied against you. Go home while we still keep, fishing or searching for evidence to actually establish if these people alleging this crime against you, if there's substance or there's meat to it. And then that was what, because these allegations were in fact, these reports, what even led to her bail were allegations levied against her by Nigerian government and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. But on that note, she was granted bail. But now the UK also have investigated, and they have a pointer to the fact that indeed she did benefit from proceeds of contract awarded. And so that's why they're going to court now.
All right, Mr. Sharma, please stay with us. Let's bring in a public affairs analyst as well, Francis Chilaka. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Chilaka. I don't know if you followed the conversation so far, but her ordeal began soon after she left office in 2015. That was a time when she was accused. That was a time Nigeria was governed by presidents that made a name as an anti-corruption agent. There was hardly any diplomatic engagement to push for speedy disposition of the matter. How confident are you that anything meaningful will still come out of all of these?
I'll start by saying that for me it's a good thing that maybe at long last justice will prevail. But I think it's a slap on our judiciary. It's a slap on our system in terms of fighting corruption. Because in Nigeria here, people don't get indicted. People don't get, we play around it. And unfortunately, here you get arrested and then investigations will start. But there, investigations start, get concluded before you're charged to court. So I believe that at the end of the day, we may end up having another case like that of Bribery in our hands.
Okay, there's just a few months into the life of this administration. What will be your advice for the government in order to enshrine transparency and, most importantly, due process in all her dealings?
Honestly speaking, I accept a lot of people. This government, even though when it was campaigning, never talked about fighting corruption. And I am not one of those expecting this government to fight corruption. Because if we look at even those who have been appointed so far as ministers, some of them are said, it is alleged that some of them have cases with EFCC and other agencies to answer. So, one is not going to be saying, oh, we're going to fight corruption. This government is going to fight corruption. I don't see this government getting involved in fighting corruption in any way at all. So, I'm not going to sit back and begin to advise the government. They know what to do. They know those they should have most responsible, and they're not doing it. So I'm not going to be,
Mr. Sharma,
talking about government fighting corruption.
All right, Mr. Chilaka. Mr. Sharma, what's your thoughts on that?
Is that question for me? Yeah. If I can get you well, if I can hear you well, you're talking about what the administration should do in terms of fighting corruption a few months to the
yes, to enshrine transparency and due process.
Yeah, first and foremost, I don't think this is the judiciary in Nigeria is to blame on this matter, because the judiciary is not a prosecuting agency. The anti-corruption agency, I think it is high time. I have consistently said this, it is high time we unbundle the EFCC. A situation where the EFCC is the prosecutor, they are the accuser, they are the prosecutor, they are the one that will review whether to prosecute, and at the same time, they are the one that will manage assets that are recovered. The tendency for corruption will be there. But if you look at what is happening here now in the UK, the NCA actually conducted investigation. The Crown Council reviewed the file and now recommended that there is enough evidence to grant prosecution. That is what is obtainable in other crimes. So I think that we should also strengthen our investigation agencies so that when investigations are conducted, it is not conducted with a mind for media trial. It's not conducted with a mind of bias, but with a mind to actually fish out those ingredients that will grant conviction, or that the court will look at and say, yes, indeed, this suspect or this defendant actually committed this crime, like we are seeing. And also a situation where the Economic and Financial Crime Commission conducts media trial or takes matters to court, and at the end of the day, these matters are not well conducted. There should be consequences for such cases. Otherwise, you have a situation where you have so many people on trial, and at the end of the day, they go scot-free.
Mr. Sharma,
there should be a departure from our modus operandi.
Thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time. Mr. Francis Chilaka, we also appreciate your time. Thank you, and apologies for the short period you spoke.
Thank you.